These are my tracks, and as you can see, the snow is getting pretty deep, but there's solid ice underneath this. And this is where I came down, and I stepped on the brakes right here. And as you can see, I got all kinds of squirrely. I was straight sideways sliding down the road. So yeah, it's definitely pretty slippery out. And the snow is blowing, and it's gonna get deep tonight. They said 3 to 8 inches, and I think we're gonna hit the higher end of that, probably closer to 8. Anyhow, we're gonna go for a ride. So we are out in the middle of nowhere on a back road, and we are testing out my brand new headlights from my new sponsor, Auxito. And let me tell you, these things are great. Now this is the low beams. Those are my high beams. And I know, yeah, the snow is not helping, but I wanted to test these in real world environment. And what better way to do it than in a snowstorm with 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts. And my sponsor said to go for it. They want to see how they perform in really nasty conditions. Well, I can tell you from the last couple days that I've been testing them, they're great. I'm really enjoying it. They're way brighter than my previous headlights. And those were pretty bright, but these walk circles around those. You'll notice that the left hand headlight is a little bit lower than the right hand. That's by design. That way you're not blinding oncoming traffic when you're in low beam situations. But the high beams, they reach right out there and touch. So please, if you guys are looking to upgrade your headlights, and I know Vanagons do not have the greatest headlights, give Auxito a call. I'll leave a link in my description, and anything that I get from a purchase will go back into my van. Okay, we are settled in for the night. Gonna grab a quick bite to eat. I'm starving. It's snowing like crazy outside. It's blowing. It's nasty. And then I started getting a real kind of weird smell when I first got here, when I parked, and I was like, what is that smell? Well, what it was my diesel heater was starving for oxygen, and it was smoking really, really bad outside. Well, what I didn't realize was I've been driving for the last 20 miles in real powdery, dusty snow, and it had been blowing up onto the air intake, and it had froze over the air intake. So luckily, I had seen somebody else on a YouTube video, gosh, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, that had the same issue. And they were in a pretty cold area too. So I grabbed my light, leaned out, I slid the slider door open, leaned out, and instantly I could see that the exhaust was smoking fiercely. So I knew I had probably an air issue. So I leaned under, and my air intake was completely just a ball of ice. So I went ahead and just took it off, and it's in the front now, thawing back out, and I'll reinstall it and maybe tuck it a little higher up. I had it all the way up against the floor, I thought, but it had wiggled its way down, so it was hanging down right in the snow draft. So yeah, good learning lesson. So any of you out there that are running a diesel heater, make sure your air intake is all the way up, as far up under the frame as you can get it. That way it doesn't accumulate the snow dust that I just put on mine. So good little tip there. If you ever have any problems, or you're smelling something, or all of a sudden for no reason your diesel heater starts smoking, take a look at your air intake. It might be plugged up. And on that note, I'm gonna grab a bite to eat. I'm gonna throw a movie on and kick back and relax. It's snowing and blowing outside, so should be a pretty chill evening for me here in the van. And then we'll see what happens in the morning. If it snows as hard as it's supposed to snow, we might have a little more of a challenge getting out of here. Oh, what's this, you wonder? And why is it plugged in? Well, for now, this is my temporary setup. I have a factory, well, not a factory from Volkswagen, but a Canadian-built block heater that's actually bolted to the bottom of my engine, and that's what that's for. Eventually I'm going to hook it all into my battery bank, where all I got to do is flip a switch, it comes on automatically. But for now, I'm just plugging it into my power strip. Worked great. It was cold this morning, below zero, like 9 below zero, and I plugged it in for about 2 hours, hit the key, that thing fired up just like it was dead of summer. So definitely a good investment on my end. They're very hard to find. I just happened to find one, so I bought it. And I had to change the cord on it. The cord was pretty well junk, but it's just a standard block heater cord, so we've got tons of them up here in every auto parts store. So big shout out to Steve and Mary. Steve had one just sitting in his workbench, so while we were installing it, he went and got a new one off his bench and gave it to me. So thanks again, Steve, appreciate that. Yeah, my block heater works great though. Fantastic setup, love it. So the old 2.1 factory engine fires right up when it's stupid cold out. Now we're getting close. Also, another problem I've been having since I bought this Vanagon, and I went back through all the paperwork and researched and did all the research I could do. And the previous owner, or the original owner of this van, she had had this thing to the shop numerous times. I mean, at least a half dozen times. And that problem was referred to as the Vanagon syndrome. But I finally figured out what it was. It took 2.5 years, but I figured it out. And I took a deep dive down the internet. And it's the distributor. My distributor had a crack in the side of the plastic where the electronic module is. I was allowing water and dusty snow, which turns into water, to enter into the distributor, which causes an erratic arc all over inside the cap. I did notice that when I changed the plug and wires, or the plugs in the cap the first time, that it had been arcing all over inside, and I just thought maybe I had a cracked distributor cap. In reality, it was a bad distributor module, and anytime it would get moisture in it, which was quite often up here, so I would have to cycle my key off and turn it back on to keep the Vanagon running. It would just die out on power. Well, what it was doing is sending the ECU into limp mode, and it would run, but it would run horribly. It would idle decent sometimes, and then the rest of the time it just, if you cycle the key off, turn it back on, great. But the problem with that is when it's wet and it's dark, you shut the key off, well, the headlights go off too. So you had to be really quick. And then everybody on the highway, when they're coming at you, and especially if you're going up a hill, as you're going up the hill and it would start doing that, you cycle the key off, you cycle the key back on, well, everybody that was coming at you thought you were flashing them, so they'd hit you with their high beams, or they'd hit you with their light bar, or flash their lights at you and wave at you when you went by, and you're like, nah, I'm just trying to get my van to keep running so I can get up this hill. So yeah, it was a little frustrating. So tonight I ran over 20 miles in just dusty, powdery snow, which immediately would have sent that thing into crazy limp mode. And we changed that last week. I have a brand new Bosch distributor, brand new cap and rotor, brand new plugs, brand new wires. It all got changed at Steve and Mary's house. So again, thank you for allowing me to use your garage, Steve and Mary. That was fantastic. Got the block heater installed. I put a new hose clamp on my water pump that my son and I had stripped out in a earlier video. Got that changed thanks to Drew. Drew was a big help in that. And then put the new distributor and did a basic quick tune-up, and also changed my headlights. So now I have brighter, even better headlights. So that was a very productive trip. I've got one major obstacle left, probably for this winter, and it's going to be my heater blower is going out. It's starting to squeal and make all kinds of really nasty noise when it's cold out. So that will get changed in the near future. Steve already offered the garage, so we're going to take him up on that and get my heater blower and my heater box. Another fun fact is when you're driving down the road above 40 miles an hour, more cold air comes in through the heater box than heat comes out of the heater box. So the flaps all need to be resealed and everything, so they have the proper seal on them, so it'll keep that cold air from coming into the Vanagon, because my feet get really cold when it's below 0 and I'm going over 50. Gets very uncomfortable in here real quick. So again, lots of progress, lots of little projects. I haven't filmed most of them. You know, I don't want to bore you with a new project every weekend, but I literally just made that extension cord a few minutes ago. The rest of this extension cord is routed under the Vanagon, and it's running the block heater. So I ran the block heater, which I do have part of that on film, so I can show you that. But I ran the block heater up. It comes up where the old propane line used to go through for the refrigerator, the factory fridge. So I ran the extension cord up through there, and then back through these cabinets, and then down through here, and then I've got it coming out here for now. It'll eventually snake back up in here and go up into where my batteries are, and my Red Arc Manager 30. My inverter's up in the front cabinet. For now, I might try to relocate that at a later date, probably be a summer project, because I'm gonna remove the cabinets and stuff like that and do some cleanup. But I also want to re-insulate this Vanagon before next winter, if I can get the bodywork done before winter, because it's not real comfortable when it's below 0. And I mean, you can feel the cold radiating. It's warmed up quite a bit today because it's snowing, so it's what it says, it's 7 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's about 20 degrees warmer than it was yesterday, which it feels a lot more comfortable in here. I've got the heat turned way down, so tonight I'll have to turn it way down, or I'll wake up in a pool of sweat. But I'm gonna get back to eating. I'm gonna grab a movie, and we'll talk at you later. All right, we're gonna open the door here and see what's going on out there, because it's blowing and not really snowing much. Huh. Well, that was kind of a letdown. It sounded more than it was. Alright, time to fold out the bed. There we go. Bed is made, and I'm gonna crawl in it because I'm getting tired. It is almost 10 now, so I'll see you all in the morning. Good morning. You see, I'm in the middle of thawing windows and getting these windows dried out so they'll not run water. The problem I was having was, if I wasn't wiping this one actively, what was happening is the water would run down the wall, and it's cold enough that it freezes. Well, the carpet was freezing to my engine lid, which made it quite difficult to get that open. So, good learning lesson. Make sure you wipe all the water up. So that's what this orange towel's for. Is I put a fan here, blows heat onto the window, thaws the window out. I can wipe it down, and then once it's dry, I don't have that problem. It warmed up last night. It's 17 degrees Fahrenheit now, as you can see here, and it's 60 inside, so it definitely warmed up last night, but it was supposed to snow, so it usually warms up quite a bit when it snows. But I'm gonna brush my teeth and get around and do some work on the computer, and then I got about a half hour to 45-minute drive back into town. So anyhow, good morning. Okay, let's see what's going on outside. Oh yeah, it snowed. Well, my tracks are all covered in pretty much. Still snowing. Not very heavy though, just kind of falling out of the sky. It's chilly, but not super cold. Okay, so that was the first full test of the block heater that I installed, running off of my power. So let's see, we're gonna do a cold start. That is so nice. You can see that the temperature is buried, so that should come up relatively quick. But yeah, that's super nice, being able to start your vehicle in the middle of nowhere even though it's cold out. So that was a good investment, especially up here for me, because there's been a few times, like last winter when it was 25 below zero, I couldn't get this thing to start for almost a week, and it was partially my fault. Had a really weak battery, which I had just upgraded not even a week ago. I put an Optima yellow top in, and it just barely fit. But I have 800 cold cranking amps also now, so that really helped a lot in the starter department. And then the block heater, wow, that's just going to be a game changer. Now it does burn some power. It's 250 watt, but it's bolted directly to the engine, and it works well. Obviously, Canada made them for over a decade. So the one thing with when I was doing the research for a block heater, because I was looking for a block heater, most of them run 800 watts to 1500 watts an hour, and my system would run the 800, but that would be it. I mean, literally I wouldn't be able to run my battery or my heater or anything if I was to use just the block heater. But with the 250 watts, I can run it for about 6 hours on my current battery setup, maybe 8. So don't need to run it that long. It only needs about 60 minutes to 90 minutes, even below zero. So I'll keep you posted on it. I'm still playing with it. That's one of my cold weather gear upgrades that I'm working on. But so far I'm loving it. It works great in town, and now that I've got to actually use it out here more remote, I'm impressed. Ooh, that wind sucks. It's slippery under there. So yes, it's still snowing, but those are my tracks that I drove in on last night, and you can't even tell I was hardly there. Now the wind's blowing a little bit, so it blew them in a little bit, but yeah, it's deeper than my ankles when I stepped out, so it's a good 6 inches of snow, and it's still snowing, and it's supposed to snow all day today too. But we're gonna meander our way back to town. I got some errands to do and some bills to pay and all the good stuff. So I'm gonna go take care of all that and then start finishing up some projects, because unfortunately I got about a month before I have a new knee, so I'll be out of commission for a little bit for some of these projects that I'm working on. But I've been working on a bunch of them, on the van especially. I still have to do the heater, that's the big one, and it's not squealing now, but when I first started it, it likes to squeal in the lower gears or the lower speeds. But we're gonna ease our way out of here. We're not in any hurry. It's only like 7:25, so it's still early. Yeah, these are my tracks from last night. they're pretty well snowed in. Sorry if that was shaking. I didn't realize my arm was resting on the steering wheel. Another tree down. A couple of them. One right there, and this one here. I'm digging my new headlights though. They are working great. That's low beams. There's the high beams. And there's the light bar. Camped there before. For the record, that's how deep the snow currently is. It's not crazy deep, but it's definitely slow in progress down here. I don't know if you can see the snow blowing off this front wheel, but it's definitely sending it out there. Bit of Star Wars effect going, not too bad. If it gets too bad, I just shut the light bar off and then you can see pretty good. But yeah, this snow is definitely deep in spots, like right here. This is the main road out of here. I still got 18 miles back to the main highway, but I figured I'd show you what the snow did last night. You can't even hardly see my tracks from last night. There's just a little ridge here and there that you can tell I drove through here, but yep, it definitely has been snowing. Now there you go. Now you can kind of see where I was at last night. Good times. This is why I bought the Syncro, so I could go do stuff like this in the middle of winter. Sorry about the bumps. It's pretty bumpy back here. My hand got cold.